Hello and welcome back to Yoga with Elizabeth. Today I have a practice for you focusing on backbends. It's only a short practice. Backbends are thought to be an energizing posture. We spend so much of our life in a forward flexion type of motion. So it's nice to take the time to draw the shoulders back and down, open out through the chest, and just feel a little bit more energized. Now, as with any yoga posture, you need to make it your own. So listen to your body, listen to what your back is telling you, and if anything doesn't feel right, then we just don't do it. I will have modifications for certain postures, and this is a gentle beginner practice. So we're not going to be doing any sort of mad drop backs or camel poses or anything like that. It's just a way of bringing some energy, some openness to the front of the body while strengthening, stretching, and mobilizing the back of the body at the same time. So when you're ready, we are going to start standing on our mat. Anywhere on your mat will do. Plant your feet underneath the hips, maybe a little bit wider. Find your stability. And if we just begin by resting the arms alongside the body, palms facing forward, and close the eyes as well. I find if you close the eyes, it helps draw your attention inwards and you're able to focus on the feeling within your body a little bit more. You're not distracted by whatever is going on in your vision. So we relax the shoulders, take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the nose, and begin to let your mind settle and your breath become a little more even. Now, if you want to, you can take one hand onto your belly and the other hand towards your chest area, around your heart. And then as you breathe in, you can feel the hand on top of your belly being pushed out. And as you exhale, you notice the hand drawing back in again as the breath empties out of the diaphragm. Hopefully the shoulders are feeling soft and we're not taking that breath into the chest. So the hand where the chest is should feel quite still. Might have a little bit of movement, but it's not coming forwards and backwards. That's the hand over the belly. If you feel happier resting the hands by the side of the body, then please do that. Wherever you are, begin to notice the weight in your feet. So our feet are planted down towards the earth, possibly rocking yourself forwards a little bit so you bring weight into your toes, but keep your heels on the floor. Transfer the weight more into the heels. Take the weight to the left and take the weight to the right. Possibly making a few little circles here as well. You're just finding your center, somewhere that you can always return to. Taking just a couple more breaths here before we move into our back bending practice today. If your eyes are closed, begin to flutter those eyelids open and make your way to the back of your mat. We're starting at the back today. So again, we plant our feet underneath the hips, finding our solid foundation here. On your next inhale, we're going to lift those arms up towards the ceiling, keeping some softness through the shoulders. So shrug the shoulders down, maybe squeeze the glutes as well. And then as we exhale, touch the palms together, interlace the fingers, and bend over towards the right-hand side, keeping shoulders stacked over shoulders so we're not leaning forward or coming into a twist. Lengthening through the arms if we can. And as we take our next inhale in, we find our way back to center, shrug those shoulders down. The shoulders always want to sneak up to the ears. So that's a task in itself to keep them dropped. And as we take our exhale, So we bend over towards the left-hand side. Again, being aware of that top shoulder, drawing it back. Inhale, coming back to face the front, taking the hands down through the center of the body now. We're going to work our way down to the mat. You might need to step your feet a little bit further apart, bring a bend into your knees, hinging from those hips as we take our hands to the floor, walking our way forward into a plank position. Fingers wide on the mat. Those feet can be hip distance or a little bit wider, relaxing the shoulders as much as we can. Drop the knees towards the earth. From here, we're going to send the elbows behind us and come into a couple of gentle push-ups. So you can come all the way down to the mat if you want to, knowing that you can push yourself up. Or if your strength isn't there today, just come down a couple of inches and push yourself back up. Let's just do 2 more. Try and follow your breath as we do this. So as we exhale, we slowly lower it down to wherever you feel comfortable. And as we inhale, we draw ourselves back up. 1 more time here, lowering it down, pushing back up. This time, we're going to lower all the way down. So the elbows come behind us, the shoulders are relaxed, the spine is in a long line, and we lower all the way down towards the earth. Drawing our elbows underneath our shoulders. We come into a position called Sphinx. The baby back bend posture. Shrug your shoulders back and down. Lift your gaze slightly without causing too much strain in the top of your back and into your neck here. And imagine you are trying to shine your chest forward. So you're squeezing your shoulder blades together behind you. You can squeeze your glutes if you want to. There is a school of thought that says, keep your glute muscles relaxed. I find it more supportive if you engage your glutes, if you give them a good old squeeze here in your Sphinx position. So this is our baby back bend. Hopefully not feeling any discomfort in this pose, but just beginning to wake up the front of the body and let all the muscles around the spine know that you're thinking of them here. So from our Sphinx, we're going to slide our hands back underneath our shoulders. Gosh, I always seem to forget these body parts these days. And gently bring ourselves up onto all fours, shifting our knees so they're under the hips, our wrists so they are under the shoulders, and begin to move through a cat-cow. As we exhale, we tuck the tailbone under, begin to lift the spine to the ceiling as we drop the chin to the chest. As we inhale, we start the movement from the tailbone, lifting the tailbone, feeling the curve through the spine as we draw our shoulders down and look forward. Moving with the breath and starting from the base of the spine, bringing yourself through one movement and then allowing that breath to guide your body gently through to the other movement. Let's just do a couple more here. I do like to think of our cat-cow as a bit of WD-40 for the spine, getting into all the little nooks and crannies, bringing some mobilization into the back of the body. When we find ourselves moving through center, we're going to stay here in our neutral spine, and we're going to come into a low lunge. Our right foot between our hands. So just draw that foot forwards, use the back of your hand on the back of the leg if you want to, and then take our left knee a little bit further behind our hips. Lift yourselves up, little bit of balance involved as well, keeping our right knee out towards the small toe here, bringing our hips to face forward and finding length in the spine to begin with. So we're not hanging out in this pose, we're quite strong. Let's lift the arms up here, keep the shoulders soft, draw that belly in, sending the tailbone down towards the earth. Just staying here for a few breaths. Listen to the breathing, try and keep the inhale as even as you can with the exhale. And then we're just going to lift the hips. We're going to bring the hips forward. So we shift that weight forward a little bit, encouraging a stretch on the front of our left leg here, maybe into the groin a little bit. And as we shift this weight forward, keeping control, we don't just want to throw ourselves down and dump our weight here. So this encourages a slight curve through our back. We lengthen through the front body, possibly looking up to the hands, and maybe drawing the arms, the hands behind us a little bit to encourage that back bend. If it doesn't feel comfortable, we can stay in position 1 with the straight spine, the tailbone down towards the earth. From here, let's take the hands back down to the floor. Work your way back onto all fours. Take your time, no hurry, all the time in the world. You might feel like you want to bring yourself through cat-cow here. You might want to take that exhale and round through the back. Come forward into your cow pose. Forget which is cat and which is cow. And as we come back through neutral, so we take our left foot forward and through, plant the foot, bring yourself upright. I forgot to take my right knee back a little bit. Let's take that right knee back. Shift the hips to face the front, knee over ankle, lift the arms. Length through the spine. Stay here if you want to, or we bring the hips forward. Extend upwards through the front body and backwards down through the back body. Focus on the breath. Be kind to yourself. Move in a way that suits you. And then as we exhale, we slowly bring those fingertips all the way back down to the floor. Back onto all fours once more. Maybe another little cat-cow if you feel the need. Before tucking your toes and working your way into our downward facing dog. So we lift the knees off the floor, lift the hips up and back, let the head feel heavy. Keep the hands where they are. We can walk the feet around a little bit if we want to find our stability in this pose. And then just bending one knee and lowering the opposite heel to the floor to stretch out through the back of the legs. In our downward facing dog, fingers are wide and we are feeling that mat under each fingertip. We can feel the mat equally between our feet and our hands. We're lengthening, stretching down through our back. So from our downward facing dog, we're going to shift our weight forward into our plank once more. Pull that belly in, stay strong. Drop the knees to the earth. 3 more little tricep push-ups if we can. Lowering down just as far as you feel able to. For 1, for 2. And this time on 3, we're going to come all the way down, back onto our tummies, and either returning to our Sphinx pose, our little baby back bend, or if you have more movement in your back and you feel happy to do so, we can bring the hands more towards the shoulders and draw ourselves into Cobra. Shoulders are relaxed. I'm just going to bring myself back into Sphinx here because Cobra is not my friend at the moment with my back, but I just wanted to show you where we put our hands and how we keep our shoulders relaxed in Cobra. Whether you are in Cobra or Sphinx, we are dropping the shoulders and leading forward with the chest. Bringing the hands back under the shoulders, pushing ourselves into plank once more, lifting those hips up and back into our downward facing dog. We're going to step our right foot between the hands again. So we did a low lunge, and now we're going to come into a high lunge. The same principle applies. If that means stepping the foot halfway up the mat, getting it into the position before bringing yourself up, then we do that. We're staying on the ball of our left foot, that foot behind us. We have a bend in our right knee. And once more, we're going to reach our arms up. From here, from our high lunge, we're going to drop our back heel. Warrior one position. I'm just going to move my feet in a little bit, actually. That doesn't feel right to me. So the back foot turns in about 45 degrees. We have a bend into our right knee. We lift the arms, lengthening through our torso. And as we exhale, possibly tracking our fingers behind us, following the fingertips with the gaze, encouraging a slight bend into our back. When we come backwards, if you can imagine your spine bending evenly into a curve, obviously we know it doesn't do that, but if you can visualize it just so that you're not bringing yourself backwards from your lumbar spine, but you're lifting and gently curving, opening out through your chest at the same time. And as we exhale, we're going to straighten our front leg, bring our arms to shoulder height, turn that back foot so it's parallel with the short edge of the mat. Return a bend into our right knee and come into warrior two. Soften us through the shoulders, just staying here for a breath or two before windmilling our hands as gently, as daintily, as elegantly as possible back to the earth as we find our way into plank. Drop the knees to the floor, lower all the way down, this time nice and gently if we can, and as we inhale, coming into our Cobra or our Sphinx. You might feel, the more movement that you do, that you can come into Cobra rather than Sphinx. From here, back into our plank, back into our downward facing dog, and we step our left foot towards the top of the mat. My legs definitely need a little bit of a helping hand at the moment. We find our foundations under our feet, use our strength to lift us into our high lunge, drop that back heel, warrior one position. Lifting up through the torso, drawing the fingertips behind us, maybe following with the gaze, maybe we want to stay in a more upright position today. And as we exhale, so we windmill the arms, straighten the front leg, maybe walk the feet out a little bit as we return a bend into that left knee, into our warrior two. Once more, windmilling the hands all the way down to the floor, either side of that left foot. Last little vinyasa here as we drop the knees to the earth. Elbows are sent behind us, lower the chest down, the chin down, come forward and through into your low Cobra or your Sphinx. And then as we exhale, we take ourselves all the way down onto the mat. Shuffle yourself down a little bit so you have mat in front of you. And just bring your arms and make a little pillow out of your forearms to rest your head. Let your heels fall out to the side. Take a moment of relaxation. Deep breath in, long breath out. This next series of postures are very glasses dependent. In fact, I'm going to take mine off, place them on those handy blocks. Locust posture. So, take our forehead to the floor and draw the arms behind us, palms facing up, and already you can feel your shoulder blades sliding back and down. Pull your belly button in. Imagine that you've got a blueberry under your belly button and you don't want to squash it. Squeeze your glutes as well, firm your thighs, and then lift your arms a few inches off the mat. As you inhale, keeping your gaze to the floor, we're just lifting the head, the shoulders, possibly a little bit of the chest. Very, very dependent on your skeletal makeup here as to how high you come up. Just hold it for an inhale and let the exhale draw you back down towards the floor. Take an in-breath, take an out-breath. Draw your belly in, squeeze your glutes, firm your thighs. As we inhale, we lift up once more into our locust. Exhale, slowly lowering back down. I'm going to give you an option now for one more variation of locust pose, because obviously we're not all the same and some of you might be feeling super flexible. So we start off the same as we did before. We prepare ourselves by lifting the arms, drawing the belly, squeezing the glutes, lifting up. Firstly, you might want to interlace your fingers behind you, sending your knuckles towards your heels, just for an extra squeeze if that feels okay. Some of you might want to bend your knees. You might be able to locate your feet or your ankles here and use that just to draw you up. If that causes any strain or discomfort, please don't do it. But if you find it easy, if you reach behind and your ankles are suddenly there, then see if you can hold on to them. If you manage to hold on to your ankles, then we can lift the gaze a little bit as well. Wherever you are in your locust, let's lower it back down. Return your forearms in front of you and your forehead to your forearms. Very slowly, very gently from this position, we're going to take our hands once more back underneath our shoulders. Control through the front of your body, control through the back of your body as we come once more onto all fours. Fingers are wide, equal pressure under palms of the hands, tips of the fingers. Maybe just moving the hips from side to side. Releasing any tension that may be in the spine after that last locust posture. Maybe even drawing yourself once more into your cat and then rippling your spine through to your cow. As we travel our body back through center, tucking our toes underneath us, shifting our weight back towards our heels as we come into a kneeling position on our mat. So we're going to finish our class today seated. This is a pose called hero pose. Now, if knees are a problem, just come down into cross-legged. I may even do that myself. Otherwise, either sitting on your heels or taking your bottom to the floor, so you're sitting between your ankles. The knees are on the floor, they're not lifted, and this is our hero pose. This has the effect of encouraging length through the spine. Sometimes if we do sit cross-legged, which I am actually going to do, then you do have a tendency to slump. Another way of getting around this, so if hero pose or sitting on your heels doesn't work for you, then we take a block or a cushion and we sit ourselves on our block. This helps drop the knees below the line of the hips and helps us with that length through the spine. So any seated position that you can find stillness in, that you can find length through your spine in, to finish our short, hopefully energizing back bend practice today. Relaxing the hands on the knees. Let's just turn the palms face upwards, closing the eyes. Taking a moment to notice how your body is feeling after your gentle back bending. So it was only an introduction into some postures that encourage our body to move in a different way. To encourage some openness across the chest. And maybe we do feel a little more energetic. Maybe the shoulders do feel a little softer. And with a hand on the belly and a hand on the heart, maybe we find that our breathing becomes a little more regular, more smooth, more controlled. Finding some stillness and relaxation at the end of that short practice today. If your hands are resting on your belly, your chest, or even if they're on your knees, just bring them to the sides of your legs, your hips now. And we're going to inhale the arms up towards the ceiling. Touch our palms together, and as we exhale, draw them down through the center. One more time, taking the hands to the floor, lifting them up to the ceiling, and exhale back down towards the heart. Thank you so much for joining me in this practice today. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please drop me a message or give me a like, or even subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content and would like to see more of these yoga practices. Thank you once more, and see you on the mat again very soon.